guess what else? Well, I guess you want to talk about the Zae and the Rachel of it all, because like we got like a
fill us
little.
in, Ben. What did we miss?
Yeah. So first of all, we kind of got like a little bit of the setup of like some of the Rachel and Keanu stuff. We at least saw, for instance, Rachel being the person to go to Keanu and be like, "Hey, Vince is thinking of renomming you. Don't freak out, though." And then Keanu immediately freaks out and goes to Vince and says, "Hey, Rachel told me that you're going to put me on the block." And then like that is what then leads to the Keanu and Jimmy stuff that we then saw. But this is a recurring kind of thing with Keanu and in particular Rachel, but he does it with other people too, where people will give him info and then he'll go throw them under the bus for no reason. So there was this like kind of like it ends up being called a game of telephone. It wasn't really a game of telephone, but Zae was one of the people who was advocating against Keanu earlier in the week. And they eventually will admit this to Keanu in the lead up to the eventual fight. But Keanu kind of went on like a bit of a witch hunt earlier in the week, trying to figure out where the leak was in some of the information that he was giving out. And Rachel basically came up to him and was like, "The leak is Zae." And one of the leaks was Zae. There were many leaks because nobody really cares about Keanu or his information or about his safety. So any information that Keanu gives people, they usually run back to whoever they can. And on top of that, we also have a situation where Rachel says that she advocated to Vince to not renom Keanu, which is true. Rachel wanted Kelly to be the renom and tried to protect Keanu in a conversation that she had with Jimmy, or with Vince. Keanu semi-fact checks this with Vince. Seems to believe Rachel at that point, but then at a certain point starts hanging out more with the bros again, starts hanging out more with Zae again, starts feeling more comfortable with them, even though Rachel is like, "Hey, they don't fuck with you really, like they're talking behind your back and they don't actually want to include you in their strategy." And shortly before the situation in the backyard, you see when Rachel comes up to confront Zae, he's sitting there talking to Keanu. This is after a conversation that Keanu had just had with Rachel, again about Zae not actually wanting to work with Keanu, and that Zae was giving out information that Keanu had told him. Keanu then immediately, like within 5 to 10 minutes, runs this straight back to Zae, starts dumping all this info on Rachel to Zae. Zae's like, "Yeah, I did want you out earlier in the week. That is true, but we're good now." And then Rachel comes up to Zae, who she knows has been spending most of his campaign advocating against Amy by saying that Amy is a second vote for Rachel and that Rachel needs to be targeted. If he would be in the house next week, he'll target Rachel. This is all things that he's done relatively out in the open, or at least out in the open enough where it's like very quickly come back to Rachel. So Rachel confronts Zae, basically calls him out, tries to like reignite some of the tension between Keanu and Zae. Zae basically openly says, like, "Yeah, if I'm HOH next week, I'll put up people who were voting against me or campaigning against me, and you're in that pool of people." This is like real silly semantic rhetoric. Like, Zae has been openly targeting Rachel. Rachel knows this. He's just trying to he's trying to like dance around it in this conversation with her. Then she does the line, if you come for the queen, you might get beheaded. She walks away.
Good line. Very good line.
Good line, yes. Rachel's been practicing her lines, with Jimmy. So And then Zae goes up to the balcony area, starts having a conversation with people, starts retelling this, shit talking Rachel. Rachel then reconfronts him. He says the line about like, as long as I'm in the house, like you're not gonna win Big Brother 2 times in a row. I mean, you're not gonna win Big Brother a second time, or you're not gonna be a 2-time winner. He stumbles over his words. He has to restate a line about 2 or 3 times, which the show edited together to make it look a little bit smoother. Rachel starts calling him a child. She says like, mommy can make you some sleepy tea, some, warm milk if you're going to behave like a child. We see a little bit more of the, like, if you're going to come at me, at least wait till I'm in my gown, that sort of thing. There's like more back and forth in the kitchen. Eventually they pull to the side and have a one-on-one in the storage room, which we didn't see any of. And in the storage room, Zae is like trying to like hash it out, but like also like denying that he's been targeting Rachel, and like trying to play this semantic game of like, oh, I only said that like I was going to put out the people who were coming after me, and that you were in that pool, which is like, again, it's just word games. Like he's been openly targeting Rachel. That's him trying to like dance around the like, coming out and saying it. He says like, Rachel, you have a victim mentality, i.e. like she's like taking the situation to try to make herself a victim. And then Rachel says, you're the one who's going to be the victim. You're going to get evicted this week. It didn't really go anywhere. Rachel's like, yeah, you're gonna get evicted, and if you don't, like, I'm gonna put HOH and you'll get evicted. Yeah. So like, that's the brunt of it. But like a lot of it was kind of cut out. A lot of like setup context was kind of cut out. They didn't really have a lot of time. But yeah, a lot of it was because of Keanu, and then Keanu also then inserts himself into the conversation after the storage room conversation, and tries to basically make it all about him, and gets mad that like Rachel is upset with him. And then Rachel walks away, goes into the backyard and talks to some of the girls. Then Keanu again tries to reapproach Rachel like a third time to try to kind of be like, hey, do you have a problem with me? Rachel's like, no, this has nothing to do with you. Why? Why do you care? Like, what are you doing? Like, and he kind of comes up in a huff, and he's like really like pissed off that like Rachel like blew him off from the conversation. So yeah, Keanu basically took a situation with Rachel, took the info to Zae, spilled the information, kind of burned Rachel as a potential ally, put all of his chips with Zae, and then the instigated, kind of accidentally instigated the fight with Rachel and Zae, and then after the fight, tried to make the fight about him, and then got mad at Rachel for being mad at him. So that's kind of where we're at. That's a lot.
And he also tried to hug Rachel afterwards.
Yes.
And
yes.
Rachel was like,
Keanu's a big, like, where my hug at guy. And if you don't like hug him, he takes it as a personal affront and gets all up into like a huff about it. So, he did this with Jimmy as well. He said this with a couple of the other women, for instance. Yeah.
Not great.
I wonder what color his aura is.